Like, sub, comment, thanks. Yeah. Every single Sonic movie is actually a pretty okay movie, but I'm going to rank all the movies. Just kidding. If I were to rank all the movies, you would just instantaneously assume that I just love Sonic 3 more than the other two, and you'd be right. But my question is for you. Do you think Sonic Movie 4 can be better than Sonic Movie 3? This is a question that I have simply because of the hype surrounding Sonic Movie 3 because it introduced Shadow the Hedgehog. And every single movie after this cannot reintroduce Shadow the Hedgehog to, the Sonic characters and all that stuff. So if we had to stick a landing point and look at this entire movie series from the standpoint of no other movie can make more money than this movie right here, unless it's drastically better than Sonic Movie 3, then we have to look at it from this perspective. Is this the end of the Sonic movie franchise based on the fact that we introduced Shadow too early? I'm going to say something incredibly crazy, and it's going to sound insane to the people out there in the back. Yes, I'm talking to like somebody's grandma right now who's in the back of the room while you're watching this on your television. Amy Rose is the make or break for this film. Really think about it. Let it sink right into the fact that Jim Carrey may not be here for this one, and we have to sit there with the idea that both Knuckles and Tails might also sit this one out so we can focus a lot more on Amy. This is Sonic Movie 4, and although they call this the cinematic universe of Sonic the Hedgehog, it isn't actually. So I'm expecting this more to function like a soft reboot. The first saga was about family, from Sonic going from being alone to having a full-fledged family with an estranged cousin who looks like him. Okay, yes, that's what I think Shadow is to Sonic. That estranged cousin who apparently just looks too similar to you. I think that's a pretty cool way of describing it. But if we're going into the second saga, obviously he's getting a girlfriend. That's just the ultimate progression of the thing. If you want to go in a different way, you gotta set that up early in the film. Otherwise, it's going to feel really bad to everybody in the fandom. Because obviously you can't have them turn into an actual relationship. Sega just won't allow it unless they do. And if they don't, well, the fans are going to be upset. The fans really want this. I don't want this, but the fans do. Well, I am a fan, so I guess I want it too, but I don't want it. After he gets the girl, or if he doesn't, hopefully he does get the girl because, we want Sonic to move forward, and Sonic getting the girl in the game itself will only happen if he gets them in the movie. That's just kind of how this works. The movies have to push Sega to make them have to go in a certain direction, which has been happening this entire time. In fact, here's how it's been happening. So in Sonic 1, they had the introduction of Sonic and Chaos Energy. Sonic started looking a lot more bluish, and he started having a lot more lightning streaks in the coming game. Then you have Sonic 2, where it focuses a bit more on the Master Emerald. They take the Master Emerald, they introduce that, they reintroduce it, they put it back in games, they make it matter more. And then in Sonic 3, they introduce Shadow, and then we get the Year of Shadow, and they focus a lot more on the Black Arms to build up his character and his lore. So if we have Amy, she has the tarot card magic. We can build up the magical side of the Sonic universe and make it actually way more interesting, because we usually don't have characters that are directly connected to the magical aspect of the Sonic universe. We're getting to our point also where we need our Sonic style bad guy, not a human, but we actually need another character to come in and actually create a spot for themselves in the Sonic universe. There's a huge problem right now where Eggman is Sonic's only rogues gallery, and then Shadow has Black Doom, but Black Doom doesn't get used all that often because every time he reappears, Shadow the Hedgehog kills Black Doom, which is a huge mistake. Black Doom is shallow, but what makes him interesting is the fact that he has a whole alien race to explore, and they keep killing him off. So we aren't going down that route usually, unless Shadow the Hedgehog is the one in charge of the movie, which he very well could be. But there's a reason why he usually isn't, and that's because Shadow's character is finite usually, because he hasn't been pushed past his limits, where Sonic has a lot more length and leeway, because once you complete his entire character arc, his nature literally takes him to the point where he wants to go out and help others with their character growth, whether it be directly or indirectly. That's up to you. I'm not fighting you on that one. But it's very clear that Sonic has a lot more legs than Shadow does, unless you do team up movies and then you change your status quo consistently. So that's where we're going in the Sonic the Hedgehog universe. But then, circling back around to Sonic, after we finish this, his next thing after having his family next would probably be friends, but that's kind of lame because you can just call Knuckles and Tails his friends. So where we go next should clearly be Sonic going into that independent stage, which is obvious to a lot of you out there, but it's not very clear to people that you actually need to focus on Sonic being alone, but accepting help from others, which makes him entirely different to Shadow. Because even if Tom does die, you want Sonic to do the thing where he just looks at the future and he goes like, yeah, the past doesn't matter anymore. Like, he's a legitimate psychopath. I think Sonic is a legitimate psychopath. I'm saying it. I think Sonic is a legitimate psychopath, and he should eventually get to the point in these movies where he feels nothing when Tom dies. Nothing in public. Okay, I'm gonna say it like that. Nothing in public. Because some people out there really want Sonic the Hedgehog to cry if Tails were to get, like, murdered in the street cold-bloodedly or something. I just don't think Sonic would do that. People will say Sonic will do that, but he wouldn't. He literally wouldn't. So this is where you can go. But, like, you also have Metal Sonic, which is a great idea for you to use him, but it's really easy to get Metal Sonic's character wrong because Metal Sonic's character is very, very dependent on Sonic as it stands in the actual original universe itself. In the original Sonic universe, Metal Sonic is a copycat character through and through. He wants to be the original Sonic. Shadow is different than him for that reason. Shadow wants to forget his past. Metal Sonic wants his future to be Sonic. So, that's where you're going with this. And adapting Metal Sonic exactly is kind of always bad. You should never adapt Metal Sonic exactly as he is in the source material. And I'm going to tell you one reason why. Because Sonic in the current universe that we're in with the movies is not a character that anybody should want to copy. In fact, wanting to copy movie Sonic is more of an indictment on Metal Sonic's character than anything else. Now, you can have him want to copy an idealized version of Sonic and have him be, that antithesis of what Sonic is meant to be in the future, quick-witted and cocky, while, our current Metal Sonic is stone cold, calculated guy who's ready to kill everybody on the spot and speed blitzes everyone. But let's be real. Let's be entirely real. Metal Sonic works when he is a mindless machine being controlled by others, and then he eventually gains that sentience through betraying Eggman, and he gets that personality trip that he's always needed to become the character that he's supposed to be. Now, let's be very clear about this. What Sonic is in the movies is different to what Sonic is in the games, and this version of Metal Sonic needs to reflect that. He doesn't need to be the cold, silent, emotionless killer that the games provides to us, but he also shouldn't be Chaos Sonic where he's talking too much. There's a very good middle for the movie franchise that is different from the game franchise that you need to strike. The movie Sonic is absolute Sonic. Can you have a character arc with Sonic and still have him be the character he's meant to be? But that's all, people. Have a beautiful day. Remember, like, sub, comment, thanks.